Okay, folks, turn 8. Fort is still in progress. I'm building a lab here in Buggerwold. We have taken the province that we negotiated with Arcoscephale with, and we have vacated Golfalas, leaving one province defense, as per usual. I'm going to keep milking the income for as long as I can. These troops are probably going to come down and take it this turn. Now, my god is moving towards Fomoria. The shipwreckers are up here in Ablak. If we look at the mercenaries, you can see the shipwreckers are about to end their contract. I imagine Fomoria will rehire them, or at least try to. So, you know, they're not going to go away. I don't really want to fight them is the thing. Like, I would like if they weren't here to be fought. Back home, we're recruiting almost nothing because we are a little short of gold this turn. On account of building the lab, which is 500 gold. But, you know what? We want it to be going. We want to get it rolling. Other words that rhyme there. Pangaea is ready to attack Yomi next turn. He said he's going to stealth through Wise Spring Grove, which is fine, I guess, but honestly, in his place, I would probably just take it. He's not going to take casualties doing it, because he took both of these provinces with basically no casualties. In fact, I think literally no casualties. He might as well just roll in on it, because if these two armies disappear into stealth, I mean, it's obvious where they've gone anyway. From Yomi's perspective. Like, Yomi, assuming he sees these, which he probably does because he has stealthy recruits and scouts and stuff, if he sees these guys, then he knows that Pangaea's armies are rolling towards him with a whole bunch of white centaurs, and if they suddenly vanish, there's really only one place they would have gone, because there's no need for them to be stealthy if they're going up here, or doubling back over here, or even moving south. It's just not necessary. So, yeah, he'll know. Pelagia seems to be coming back from the brink of almost being Dom-killed. I don't think it would kill them, like I said before, but still hilarious. Our Dominion has pushed entirely across their lake and is now in Droigar. So now we can see we're even pushing through Arcocephale's Dominion, which is double hilarious. But yeah, so I don't know if he's going to actually stealth through or if he's going to attack. In his place, I would probably just attack. He did find a library here, which is radical, because that lets him recruit sages and makes his research super good. I, meanwhile, am, like I said, just recruiting a couple more Chud Skin Shifters. I'm going to go down here, take Yellow Caves. Then this troop will sweep up in this direction. This troop is coming down here. I'm trying to think whether I want to take these. I actually don't really want to take these, because this one has Long Dead Horsemen and that one has Heavy Cav. And I don't think this little posse is going to do the job there. So Gavriel is just going to move along this way. I'm going to keep him in anti-flyer mode for a second, just because, just in case, you know, I'm just kind of one of those cautious people. And this army, I haven't decided where this is going yet. I could try to attack the shipwreckers and kill them, and I think I win against the shipwreckers with my Chud Skin Shifters. I'm pretty sure I win. I'm not sure if it's worth taking the casualties. He is recruiting some unmarked there. Vanheim is still, like, even though Team Elf won't say it, this really looks like Vanheim is at war with Fomoria. Like, I can't think of another thing that Vanheim would be doing right now except being at war with Fomoria. So, with all this crap. So, I feel like that's what is happening here. Put You on Ice is going to move out to this way and prepare to attack here. And I think I'm actually just going to slip this army back south. So this turn, we're actually going to take no provinces. Turn 8. We have, right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm not counting this one because it's about to go away. Actually, we are taking Yellow Cave, so we'll be up to 14. And then, of course, we're going to take some away from Fomoria. So we got slightly more than our share of provinces. We're doing good. Still are doing no research pretty much whatsoever, but we hit Conjuration level 1, so that's fine. And pretty soon we'll start to actually recruit mages and stuff, and won't that be exciting? So, that's turn 8. I'll see y'all in turn 9. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Turn 9. The war is about to kick off. We're moving our troops and our god both into Flemistan. Flemistan is a fairly low-value province, and it's also one that has a ton of black candles in it, unfortunately, but it's my closest entry point. And it's what I'm going to use to make a thrust directly into Fomoria. I'd like to get this under siege as fast as possible, just lock him down, not permit Fomoria to build any troops until he sets up another fort, which I don't think he's done yet. I don't believe he's done that yet. I could be wrong. He could have one, but I don't think he does. And I'm certainly hoping he doesn't, because I would like to prevent him from building anything, and that would be great. I did lose this province to independence this term, which was a shame, but I took this one, so my province count actually stayed the same. Vyacheslav here is going to move up towards Fomoria along with Gavril, and they're going to reinforce that army as quickly as possible, just to make sure he can't break out. Somebody else will have to take Amberfields back in a short little time here. Meanwhile, Pangaea is prepared to launch his own attack on Yomi. I would say surprise attack, but if this is a surprise, then Yomi must be blind, and I don't think they are. So, overall, I think things are going pretty well. In terms of research, still not really happening. We've got one guy researching now, Yakov. Yakim is running around site searching, and actually I'm going to send Yakov site searching too, I think. Like, no reason not to, frankly. He'll search for air sites, which would be great. Get a few air gems up-ins for when I finally start recruiting Thunder Priests. I've got a lab here, and the fort will be done next turn, so I'll be able to start recruiting Rusian wizards. I won't be able to start recruiting Thunder Priests yet, because I need a temple, but I am recruiting another priest, and so I'll try to throw up a temple here in Boggerwold pretty quickly, and start getting some Thunder Priests out, because Thunder Priests are radical. They are aces, the bee's knees, etc. Other similar, very, very dated phrases. Arcoscephale is very large. He has 15 provinces that I can see. I'm counting this as one of his provinces, because realistically it should be his. And if it's not his right now, it will be very shortly. I have 12 at the moment, but really you can count me as having 13 or 14. So I'm also doing fine. Pangaea is doing fine. Nasajin has sort of gotten his second wind now, so he's taken provinces at a steady clip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. For turn 9, 11 provinces is perfectly serviceable. He should be able to finally take that at some point here. And then hopefully he'll also get a couple of these. Like, at least that one. Hopefully also that one. Not going to take that one. I think either or Agartha is going to take that. We have seen Hinnom off here in the distance. And that's basically the turn. That's pretty much all that's going on right now. We're launching our attacks. Lanka is over here, so shouldn't really be able to help. And I think things are going to go fine. Fomoria's disciple did wake up this turn, which tells me two things. First of all, they went for a dormant instead of an imprisoned god, so it wasn't quite as incredible a gamble as it could have been. And second, this god isn't going to wake up for another 9 turns, or at least he shouldn't, because I don't believe the roles are separate. I think the role for when the god wakes up just automatically determines when the disciples wake up. Right? I think that's how it works. I actually don't know that. That's just an assumption on my part, but I think that's how it works. So anyway, the god's not going to wake up for several more turns at least, which means that if they have any incarnate blesses, those blesses are not yet active. So this worm, be thankful it's not on a plane, is a lot less dangerous right now than it could potentially be. Which is why I'm willing to move Put You on Ice and all my troops into enemy dominion like this. Once I have my second temple up, and once I have Put You on Ice parked on top of Fomoria, we should be able to suppress his dominion spread a little better, and hopefully start slowly chipping away at the black candles to make Put You on Ice more effective. Speaking of dominion spread, Pelagia finally has 3 candles in their capital. We still have candles surrounding it, so they're in like a bad way. But yeah, it's interesting. I think their army is down here, but also interestingly, they've gotten 2 above ground provinces. Which, I mean, if I was Tir Na, I don't think I would have allowed this. Admittedly, I guess there's an argument to be made that stopping him would mean declaring war, but I'm like, so what? He's Pelagia. He doesn't have, like, force projection. If I was over here, next to Atlantis, maybe I would be wary of that, but over here next to Pelagia, I mean, why? I would just take those if I was Tir Na. Just kick Pelagia back underwater, tell him, sorry. Good luck with the lake life. But in any case, sorry about that. So, motion sickness. So, yeah, that's the turn. I'll see y'all in turn 10, and we'll see how our attack went. Okay, turn 10. So, my attack has gone in against Fomoria, and it's been successful so far in the sense that I took Flemistan. Flemistan is a pretty shitty province, but we rolled right into it. No resistance, you know, just a little tiny bit of province defense, essentially. And we rolled right over it. As expected. We got our little regen blood bond bless, and our sacred stormed in, and they killed people very easily. Few arrow hits, but nobody died or even took any serious damage, I don't think. So, great. Wiped them out. Cool. 14 skin shifters. Doing good. Karnag, Niefelheim finally killed the Circle Master / Conjurer province. They brought a whole bunch of Nifl giants, and they brought a Gigya, leading a whole bunch of reanimated Long Dead giants. Long Dead giants are pretty solid as Long Dead go. They don't have much prop, but they have a lot of hit points, plus their pierce resistance, and they do a lot of damage. So, you know, they're a lot better than standard Long Dead. And so the Nifl giants and the Jotun Long Dead just sort of swarmed forward, wiped out the enemy skeletons, overwhelmed them, and then came back here and murdered the enemy mages. Good egg. Good on them. Lost a few Long Dead, but who really cares? Helmshire, we lost some Dominion. Minsk, we lost some Dominion, which is... both of those are, like, kind of hilarious. Where is Minz? Oh, up here. I still have a point of Dominion there. Cool. And we finished our fort in Bogger Wold. We need to continue upgrading the fort, but we also need to keep recruiting things, like troops. I might, however, tell you what, I have 96 recruitment points. I might shift my Bear Warrior recruitment up there, because I can. And down here, we're still recruiting Chud Skin Shifters. Actually, you know what? 65 gold. Might want one. Well, Bear Warriors give a lot of attacks, which is what's nice about them. They are undisciplined, but still, I think it's worth having some of them around at least. So, this force, looking over here, we've got about 40 enemy units plus their province defense, which is going to be another 40 units or so. Not confident that this group can chew through all of that. Their province defense will be Furbolg Warriors, which aren't super threatening, but they do have some unmarked. And Furbolg Druids, plus they have their Worm, and I don't know where he's gone. I think he's gone over here and taken that province back from Vanheim. I strongly suspect that that a deal has been struck with the Elven team. Now, taking a look at geopolitics for a second, there's kind of an interesting situation developing here. So we've got Berytos down over here. This is because we have harpies, flying around scouting that we know this. So we've got Berytos down here. Berytos is with Machaka, if I recall correctly. I think Machaka, Agartha, and Berytos are that team. Yes. Okay, so that's... yeah, we talked about them before and how they're kind of separated up here. Over here we've got and Hinnom. And and Hinnom's partner is Sauromatia, who's right here. So this team is sort of spread along this inner ring, as it were. They've got an Atlantis on their shores, and there's another Atlantis up here by Lanka and Yomi. So Lanka has reached Yomi, and they've kind of joined forces a little bit. What's interesting to me is this location over here, where you have Fomoria, who is small, and then you have Vanheim, but you've got these three Sauromatian provinces behind them. This is a geographically very, very dangerous area. Vanheim looks, I mean, I think, because Arcoscephale is there, I think Tir Na is up here, and then I think Vanheim is like down here, is their capital. So this is kind of a weird extended region, and Sauromatia almost has to be, since Hinnom is there and is over here, Sauromatia almost has to be right up here. So, like right now, I think right next to that, like I would expect Sauromatia to be in one of these provinces. So this is a weird extension on the part of Vanheim and a dangerous one. And I would expect there to be a war breaking out over here sometime soon. So, in any case, the big news this turn is that Pangaea failed to take Yomi, and that was just because he didn't... there were two things. He didn't account for the fact that Yomi spawns Ethereal Province Defense, because these demons, the Oni, when they die, they turn into a ghost form, which is ethereal. Now, their morale is shit, so they break if you manage to rout them. They break pretty easily. But in order to rout them, you have to... basically, against this province defense here, with the white centaurs, the proper technique here would have been attack rear. But he was confident he would be able to just chew through because he forgot that these guys were ethereal, which, to be fair, I wasn't thinking about it too much. So, instead of going around the rear, the White Centaurs just charged straight in. They also got kind of split up, so some of them got killed immediately. A few ran to the back, but most of them got involved in this line fight. And as you can see, so White Centaurs, the regeneration doesn't help them a ton because their max hit points is still only 23, so they regenerate some, but not a lot. The Blood Bond was helping in spreading the damage out, but even so, when they're being surrounded like this by these spearmen, these bandits, and harassed down, they are going to die. So the White Centaurs got chewed through, because this regen Blood Bond Bless really isn't the best for them. It's stronger for the Skin Shifters and the Niffles. And he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 White Centaurs that are just back here bodyguarding his Hierophants, which could have been extending this line and probably won this fight. Meanwhile, these guys have gone back here, and they're charging the enemy commanders, and they did kill the Demon Priest, but they didn't manage to kill the Onishugo before these guys who are firing their bows and keeping distance, before they routed. And so the remaining White Centaurs got cleaned up by the Province Defense. He actually did rout the Province Defense at the end there, but unfortunately, his commanders had already left. So all that was left was these 3 berserking White Centaurs, and they just didn't have the moxie to finish off the Onishugo, I don't think. Actually, I mean, they got close, but... Oh, they woke up. They fell unconscious and they woke up, they weren't berserking anymore, and so they routed. Yeah, okay. So that was very, very close, but a couple little scripting misplays, and he failed to conquer Yomi. And the Onishugo lived. So all of this was just province defense, there was nothing patrolling. So that's a shame. 10 White Centaurs lived, and then there was a battle in Wise Spring Grove, this province next to Yomi, where a much smaller army attacked into an expansion party of Yomis and wiped it out. They lost a little chaff, a few Maenads, a few satyrs, and the White Centaurs are actually holding back using their javelins. And then the White Centaurs went in and won the fight by forcing the Yomi troops to rout. And there we go. That's what you normally expect to see with White Centaurs. Just writing down everything, killing them all. So, that was a victory, but this wasn't, which means this is going to be a little bit of a longer war. Up here, I am going to shift down into Loraboro with everybody. I'm just going to whoop right down there because I don't want to attack straight into Fulmoria. As I said, I don't think I have the mass of troops to do that yet. I've got more troops moving up. I've got Sieslav moving up with his 5. I've got 10 more coming there. I've got 10 more troops coming here with Dmitri. And then next turn, of course, I'll have, more troops arriving. In fact, I may want to start recruiting more just basic chaff. Bear Warriors are good. 1.4 siege strength for 18 gold. These guys are 1 for 10. So they're not that much less efficient, and they're a lot more damaging. So we'll keep up with the Bear Warriors. Keep recruiting Skin Shifters. And we're going to just mass up troops for a couple turns running around in here, and then we're going to go in and besiege Fulmoria as quickly as we can. But like I said, I don't think launching this army in to attack Fulmoria would be a good play, just because Put You on Ice is weak. My troops, yes, Skin Shifters are pretty powerful, especially with this Bless, but they can still get inundated with numbers, and I think if I were to take these troops in here, I'd end up fighting something like 80 to maybe 100 units. And that's just probably too many. I need more Skin Shifters. Like, once I get Vseslav and Gavril up there with their 15 additional units, most of which are Skin Shifters, then maybe, because that will about double my Skin Shifter numbers. And then I'm at the point where I can hack through, like, infantry, chaff, and giants pretty effectively. But in any case, that's the turn. Agartha is moving this army down. He's made a deal with Nasajin to move through 127, so he's going to be paying some money in order to go through and take that barbarian province. And Ice to Meet You, I think, is moving over here to help with the war, or I'm not sure where he's going. Haven't really talked to Nasajin about that, but I strongly suspect this army is going to come over here, clean out these wolf tribe, and see how much further we can expand over this direction before we run into somebody. So, should be okay. Pangaea is, like I said, Pangaea's kind of had a little bit of a stop here, but they're going to recover, and they're going to knock down Yomi's defenses quickly, because, like I said, they really should have won that battle. It was just a few little goofs, and God knows I've made my share of scripting goofs in battles, so no criticism implied there. But he should be able to take that in the next few turns as he moves up more white centaurs. And then we'll have Yomi locked down. Hopefully a couple turns after that we'll have Fomoria locked down, and then it will be basically Lanka versus the world. And should be alright. So, thanks for watching. See y'all in turn 11. Turn 11. And things have taken an interesting turn. As we can see over here, Arcoscephale has jumped onto Fomoria's capital. Now, I had kind of anticipated, and I talked about this before, I expected that the elf team was effectively at war with Fomoria, or were going to be at war with Fomoria very shortly, especially once they saw that I was coming in. Once they saw that I was attacking, there was no reason really they would stay out. That said, to me this is kind of an... So for one thing, for me, this is an easily punishable move, and I'll talk about why that is in a second here. And for another thing, it's just not really, I don't know, cricket. I don't like it, because, of course, I'm right here, I'm gathering my troops. I was planning to gather all of my troops and go straight in against Fomoria. But now these little 5 Wind Riders have jumped in. They wiped out the province defense, because, of course, they have... basically, these Wind Riders, once they're blessed and have their Blood Surge active, have a very high attack skill. And that means that they can repel very effectively with their length 4 bronze lance, as well as having a defense skill of over 20. So these Fomorian militia with their attack skill 8 and defense skill 8 really can't do any damage to the Wind Riders. They lost 1 out of their 5. They were fighting completely surrounded by militia and slingers that just weren't hurting them. And so they were able to just kind of hack their way through the entire province defense. That said, there's no way 5 Wind Riders can hold this province for any length of time. Now, he's got more Wind Riders coming in, and presumably, Vanheim has some Vanherses around somewhere that are in stealth. So that's probably their plan, if they're planning to hold Fomoria at least. But I have more troops than that. I've got these troops that were just heading up there until I decided to redirect them. I've got these troops with Gabriel. I've got a guy moving up into this province. Gabriel actually should just move on over, I think. And of course I've got these. Overall, I've got about 30 skin shifters plus a few random assorted troops in the area. Dmitri is heading south to retake Amber Fields just because he can. And he needs to move down there with them. Whoops. And that should be fine. That shouldn't be a problem. And, yeah, so I'm in a pretty strong position to launch that attack. I don't know that Arcoscephale can keep it. And I'm not going to let them keep it because I want Fomoria's capital for myself, obviously. So, we have, while still fighting Yomi and Fomoria here, we have made common cause with Agartha, Machaka, and Berytos, this team, as well as Sauromatia, Hinnom, and this team. And all 3 of us have agreed to attack the elves. Now, obviously, geographically, we can't get like everyone involved against them, but what we can do here is we can have Pangaea, 6p, continue fighting Yomi, which is a fight he's likely to win, while myself, Sauromatia, Niefelheim, and Agartha all attack the elf team. We can all easily go in against Arcoscephale and Vanheim, leaving Tir Na a little bit isolated from the first initial conflict, and hopefully kind of smash them back. And in a perfect world, take Arcoscephale's capital before they can really do anything about it. Reasons why I think this is going to work, or why I think it could work, rather. I'm skeptical about saying it will work, because of course, Haerdalas is a very good player, his teammates are solid players, and they're playing strong nations with a strong bless. So, you know, it could always backfire on us. But Wind Riders, honestly... So, let's talk about Wind Riders for a second. They're not bad. And in particular, they're good against AI. They're good at expansion because they have this attack rear thing going on. They've got the high defense skill, high protection, You can drop a Bless like their Bless with the Defense skill and the Blood Surge and the Twist Fate and the Bark Skin on them, and make them very hard to kill when they jump into the back and start assassinating commanders. And so they can hop into the back, large numbers of weak troops can't really hurt them, and they just go to town, and they clean up everything, as happened with these Fomorian militia and all that. But that strategy won't work on me, and it won't work on Niefelheim. It won't work on me because Chud Skin Shifters are Berserkers. So a big part, and they have a high attack skill. So the two main portions of the Wind Rider's defensive strategy is A, they have high defense skill, so they're hard to hit, and B, they have high attack skill and a long weapon, so they get repel chances. Repel doesn't work on Berserkers. When you repel a Berserker, they go Berserk. After that, they automatically pass all morale checks. They'll take 1 damage from being repelled if you successfully repel them, and then they will hit you. Chud Skin Shifters, when they go Berserk, do a bunch of damage, and they have an incredibly high attack skill. Once he goes Berserk, and before turning into his second form, of course, which will also happen when he's under attack by Wind Riders. But in that time, he'll have attack skill 19, and he'll be hitting for 29 damage. After he turns into a bear, he still Berserks. His attack skill is, I think, a little bit lower, but he has 2 attacks, both of which are damaging enough to go through the armor of the Wind Riders, which will end up being a total prot of, I believe, 23. We can actually look at that battle real quick, just to double check. I think it ends up being 23. But so their defensive layers, yeah, 23. Their defensive layers don't work to prevent the attacks of the Berserkers and the Bears, because the Bears will have enough attacks to push through their defense skill with harass penalty, and the Berserkers just have a high enough attack skill and hit hard enough to cut through and do damage regardless. At least one of these Wind Riders is also cursed, which is kind of funny. I think it's just the one. But yeah, so my Skin Shifters can beat Wind Riders. That's not a problem. Similarly, Nephil Giants can beat Wind Riders just because of their, they have their Frost Aura and they're very, very tough. Especially in cold scales, which it is late winter right now, so it will be spring by that time. But at least in our Dominion, we'll have cold scales. And if you can push up there, well, actually, I don't know. It looks like Arco has heat scales. So, okay, that's not ideal. But still, with the cold aura and just with the amount of HP they have and the high damaging hits, if we look at where's Niflheim, they hit for 33 slashing damage. They don't have the best attack skill, but when they connect, they will kill. And they have enough protection and hit points that the Wind Riders will take a long, long time to kill them. Meantime, you have the Chill Aura, racking up fatigue. Yes, it's not going to work great because they do have a little bit of cold resistance, but 5 cold resist will not fully negate this, and so they are going to rack up fatigue faster than the Nephil Giants do, and that's going to be a problem for them. So I think the Nephil Giants win. I know my Skin Shifters win. And then over here we have Sauromatia, who says he's only a few turns away from Skeleспam, and skeletons will overwhelm Vanherses in large enough numbers. It's you need a lot of numbers. Like, Vanherses will absolutely cleave through hundreds of skeletons if you have, a gang of 40 or 50 of them. But if you have an Inari Communion, you can spam hundreds of skeletons without blinking. And so they should be able to help overwhelm the Vanherses. Plus, Vanherses are capital-only sacreds that are difficult to recruit. They're expensive. More expensive than my Skin Shifters. And so there's not going to be many of them, and everyone who dies is a little bit of a loss. A loss that's hard for Vanheim to replace. Plus, geographically, this whole little salient down here is just going to be hard to defend. Because you got Sauromatia on one side, you got me on the other side. We can probably just wrap that section up and push north. And we'll very much put the elves on the defensive. Now, will we win? Can't guarantee that. I don't know. It's entirely possible that Haerdalas will start doing his raiding tricks where he's deep striking into our territory very easily, causing all sorts of havoc, slowing us down, lowering our income, and the attack will stall out. But I feel like we're in a good strategic position. We've got, Sauromatia on one side, we've got Agartha on the other side, we've got us coming up from the south. I think Team Elf is going to be in a little bit of trouble. And hopefully, we'll be able to beat him up. We may even, I may tap Perun and maybe like, hey, buddy, I know you've got some holdings on the shore here, because you've got those and you've got those, and if you want to expand those, guess what? Now is the time. Help us against the elves, and we will, your life on the surface will be assured. So, we'll see how it goes. Overall, I feel pretty optimistic about it. I know it seems risky. It sounds a little iffy to be starting another war while we're already at war, but frankly, this war is pretty low impact, and like, I'm confident in Pangaea's ability to beat Yomi, with relatively few provinces. Lanka is back behind him, not really contributing yet, might be able to contribute some, but only at the cost of delaying their own expansion. And, Fomoria is basically fucking gone. I mean, they've got about 40 troops in here, plus their worm. That's all they've got. That's what's scary. They've got this province. Their worm might be in this province. I don't know. But it's going to be tough. Gonna be tough for them. I think Fomoria is pretty much out of the picture. So we'll gather up some troops. We're going to hit that province. And then turn 15 is when the attacks are going to be launched against the Elf team. That's what we've agreed. We've agreed on that with Agartha. We've agreed on it with Sauromatia. And of course, I've talked to Nasajin about that as well. So all 4 of us will be launching our assault on turn 15. And we will try to just do as much damage to the elves as fast as possible, so that we can prevent them from really being able to strike back at us. So, that's the plan. I'll see y'all on turn 12.